Good morning. It is July 22nd. That would be Friday, July 2-2. We are 90 days out from October 20th. We are in the midst of a full month of Ignite, and we are doing Win the Buyers today. On Monday, we'll be doing Win the Sellers. We're going to get into discussing all the collateral that you have inside of Command to build out that buyer packet, to build out your listing packets. It's all there. You can change your photos and obviously make it yours, which is pretty important. Although if you don't like your headshot, you can do one of two things. You can use the photo that's already in Command, or you can book Babs to do your headshot because she's doing headshots now. We'll talk about that in a second. So that's going on with Ignite. That's at 9 o'clock. Win with Buyers. 11 o'clock, we're going to discuss profit share. This happened just in the last couple of days. So profit share drops technically on the 21st. It might hit your bank account on the 20th. If you're thinking, Tim, I didn't get any profit share, you're welcome to. So that's why we use the language about where most companies would call it a sales meeting. We call it an all partners meeting. The reason we call it an all partners meeting is everyone has a chance to be a partner in the company. And when we talk about profit share today, we'll explain how that money splits out and how it is different than the way most companies function. The reason we are doing our best each and every day to make sure that we are not spending unnecessary money because we are a profit-sharing company. And it's hyper important that we do that. And everyone that's involved in this business with Nathan, the owner, reaps the benefits of us being sound with our spending and our investments and things that we are doing that we think will be beneficial for the company. So, insofar as the party we just had, Gunstock, which I don't know if you noticed, but we actually broke Gunstock, so Gunstock's closed now. It's more of an issue with their management, or I don't know. There's a new ownership came in. They're trying to manage the place, but they're not talking to management to help manage the place. So everybody walked out right after our party on Wednesday night, which is pretty comical. So Nate broke Gunstock, which is pretty cool. Hopefully they'll get their stuff together. We want to see everybody do well. That being said, a party like that doesn't cost $2. There's money spent there, and that's why we're in partnership with all of our allied resources, and that's why you heard Jeff talking about all of our friends that were there, that we're in business with, that sponsored that event for you guys. So our relationships with our allied resources at the market center level help defray that cost and make sure that we are not digging into what we could use and most companies would use because we want to profit share back to you guys each and every month. And I think this month we profit shared back, or I should say in the month of June, we profit shared about $130,000. And that money got disseminated in the last couple of days. So we'll talk about profit share. Right down to the littlest things. Just to give you an example, I'm in North Conway yesterday with Jen Vashon and all the agents that were coming through. And of course, Christy was managing the front desk for the day, and we're all leaving. And Christy's like, "Are you going to be in Portsmouth tomorrow?" I said, "Sure." She goes, "Can you bring this down to Brittany rather than have me spend $7? Like, that's the kind of stuff. Because any other company would be like, "Oh, just throw it in there. It's just $7. And you think, well, it's just $7. It's not a big deal. If we never think about how we're spending our money, it is a big deal over the course of time. So we're always questioning where our money and our efforts and our emotional capital is spent best, and that's what we're going to talk about today with profit sharing. And moreover, the start of that, the other side of that coin, is how do you get involved? And it's super simple. I think most people overthink it, and we'll discuss the mechanics of profit share at 11 o'clock. That's on Keller TV. And at 1 o'clock, you've got Back to Basic with your brokers. That's on Keller TV. And then KW Connect is offering 5 pricing strategies that sell homes quickly. And I think the first 6 of those are Price It Right. We'll find out at 1 o'clock, though. So we'll see. Appreciate you hanging out today. And I want to talk about safety today. I was thinking we haven't talked about it in a while. And if I'm thinking we haven't talked about it in a while, we certainly haven't talked about it enough. And just a conversation around safety as realtors. And there's certain parts of this conversation that people are going to be like, well, I've got this or I've got that, or I always carry this with me. And that's between you and your decisions of what make you feel safe. I'm talking about making sure people are aware of where you are. I'm talking about holding a standard for your clients to not make you feel uncomfortable and some of the things that we have at a very basic level to make sure you guys feel safe, and just some practices we can put into play to make sure you guys are always doing things to create a safe environment for yourself. So let's talk open house. I don't want to see anybody doing an open house alone. And I know that's not always the case. And you can tell me right now, while that's not always possible to get somebody to help you, I want you to change your thinking around that. I want you to start to do open houses, and I want you to always have another person with you. The fastest way to make sure that you have somebody with you is to invite your lender of choice. For me personally, it's going to be Brad Kelly, because he's way taller than me. Everyone's taller than me. He's way taller than me. He's going to be there because when somebody comes through and they're like, oh, we don't even know if we qualify, Brad's right there. Brad can sit and have a private conversation with them in the dining room, run their numbers. By the time they've toured the home, they've got probably a good idea of where they stand. They can at least start to discuss products with with Bradley. And Bradley's also a big guy, and it's just a presence of another person. It's not like, oh my God, there's this huge person. I'm not going to be a maniac now and do something stupid because this big guy's here. It's just the presence of another person. So whether you have your allied resource there from, I probably wouldn't have a home inspector there. I don't think your seller wants a home inspector there, but usually a lender. If not, a fellow agent. And if not that, it's a teammate from your team if you're on a team. It's just a good practice to be safe. Now, if you do encounter, and I've heard so many agents say, oh, I do that all the time, and I'm glad to hear you guys are doing this. If you do walk in this weekend to somebody's open house, and it is clear that he or she are alone, and you can, because you're not in a rush, after you introduce yourself, because you're visiting open houses just to be a great agent, right? You pop it in, and they're from ABC Group or any one of our competing brokerages that we play with in this big sandbox of real estate here on the seacoast, up in the lakes, up in the mountains, and up in southern Canada for Joey Sweat. You walk in, you realize they're alone. And yes, male or female. Like, hey, I'm in no rush. Do you want me to hang out and help you close up? Because if you're in there and there's people milling about and they're feeling uneasy, they'll be thrilled that you asked. And they'll appreciate it. And that's us looking out for each other. And it's not just a KW to KW thing. Anytime you go into an open house, if there's an inordinate amount of people walking around, and if there's somebody that you're getting a vibe from, then you offer to stay. Now, above and beyond that, structurally, to make sure that you are keeping yourself safe, you should have all paths of egress open. If there's sliding glass doors, and I appreciate if it's late fall, if it's raining, if it's cold, if it's snowing, I appreciate that you're going to have the doors shut. Have them unlocked. And now this whole conversation changes if there's two of you, right? Have the doors unlocked. So every door that you could get out of should be unlocked. Now, above and beyond that, if there's doors all over the house and there's just you, leaving those doors unlocked creates a problem. So in the space in which you're going to be, if the front door is open because people are coming in, the sliders should at least be open. There should be another path of egress. When you're touring homes, whether you're showing the home at an open house, and normally you're not, you're probably in one spot and people are milling about as they do, there is no need, write this down, there is no need in North America, and for our friends in Europe, there's no need to go into a bathroom to show somebody a bathroom. You never want to be the person entering the room first. And I'm not trying to do this to create like a fright show Friday here. This is not the purpose of this. I just want you guys to think clearly about what you're doing and the positions you're putting yourselves in. Nobody, man or woman, when I say this, I'm 5'9" if the wind's at my back. Like, I'm talking about all of us. Please don't think that I'm speaking just to a certain group. Male and female, you should never enter the room first. If it's a small room, there's no need to go into the room. If it's a bathroom, there's no need to go into the room. And never enter the room first. Always have somebody with you, whether it's a teammate, a fellow agent. And anyone who hears the sound of my voice, if a fellow agent asks you to rock and roll and go do an open house with them, say yes. I will buy you lunch. It's the right thing to do. And if you encounter somebody who's by themselves from any brokerage, and there's a lot of people there, just let them know, hey, I'm in no rush. Do you want me to hang out so I can help you close this thing up and see that everybody leaves efficiently? However you want to word it. They'll know what you mean, and if they're feeling the vibe or if they're appreciative, they're going to be like, that'd be great. I really appreciate it. You can even go back out and wait out in your car. If you offer to do that, they know that you're not there trying to snake their buyers. You're there to be helpful. You're there to be safe. There's no need. Put the lights on. There's no need, especially if you're alone, right? If there's a whole bunch of you, and if it's a big house, I mean, I've seen teams do stuff where there's somebody on the top floor, there's somebody out in the yard, there's somebody on the front porch, there's somebody on the main level, there's somebody, and there's actually somebody, because it's a walkout garden style home. And it's a finished basement with a machine room, and there's somebody down there because it is a living space. But if it's simply just a basement, leave the lights on, make sure everything's well lit so they can read service tags on heaters and stuff like that. There's no need for one of you to be down there. Somebody in the chat, I appreciate this, just said you can also bring a spouse or a friend. Yes, they obviously unlicensed. They can't speak any of the language of sales, and they cannot talk about the house. They are simply there to be there. There is no need, and why was I driving in today saying we need to talk about safety? I don't know, but I think we need to talk about safety. I just want to make sure you guys are doing what you need to do to keep yourself safe in this industry, because there's so much information out there. There are so many things on your phone that are telling people where you are. My wife hikes. She's going to hike both days this weekend because she's a maniac. I think I'm going to play golf tomorrow, and then the boys and I are going to see Top Gun. Has everybody seen Top Gun? Yes, we're the last people to see Top Gun. When Janina goes hiking, she uses Waze. She doesn't turn it on. She's not identifiable. You can't see Janina's little icon on Waze coming or going. She does not post pictures of where she was. She doesn't tell people where she's going to be. She's got all the safety things. She's got so there's a hiker card for New Hampshire that if anything should ever happen, we've already paid the insurance and stuff. She could be hella lifted off the mountain should that come. And she's always with friends. And tomorrow she's actually going to be with our youngest, Cameron. But she will typically post that they just stopped for lunch after she's left. And I want you guys to think about this when you guys are, and especially if you're going to do it alone, and you're like, just stopped at the bakery to pick up the muffins for my open house and all this stuff, and like people are able to track you. And I know you live very public lives, and I know we celebrate being on social media and telling your story and being, I guess, hyper visible, for lack of a better term. It's called Hike Safe. I appreciate that. Somebody just threw up Hike Safe for Janina's card. I appreciate the visibility of this industry. And there are things you can do to make sure that you are not telling people exactly where you are every waking moment. And all of this concern from me as your coach changes quite a bit when I know that you have at least somebody else with you. It's inevitable if you're working on a team. You're getting a phone call, and if it's your day to be vetting the phone calls, and you get the call and it's the Buchanans and they want to meet you at one of your team's listings, I know to create rapport, you're going right out to the listing. And at that point, you're going to start to build the conversations, build the rapport, and then from there, obviously, have them start to sign paperwork. But if you're getting there and there's a car out front and they're already walking around the house or whatever, take a quick picture of the license plate and shoot it back to me and Zoe and Jeff, Virginia, Mark, whomever. Letting your spouse or loved ones know, I'm going on a showing, I'll be back. I should be back in an hour. If you don't hear from me, shoot me a text or whatever the case may be. Before that, while you're interviewing the person who wants to see the property, and you can blame this on the market center, and nobody here is ever going to have a problem if you do this. I want you to do this, and I'm not going to shoot on you on a Friday morning. You should be doing this. Because any guy worth his salt, and I'll say guy because these are the creeps, right? For the most part. There might be a few female creeps out there. For the most part, the creeps are the guys. Any guy on planet Earth that hears you ask this series of questions, if they are on the up and up and they've got nothing to hide, they shouldn't have an issue with this. So I call. Let's just say I call. I get Stacy, the realtor. I want to see you 123 Oak Street. Hey, awesome. She starts to ask qualifying questions. Am I working with anybody? The first house we've seen. Hey, so, and she qualifies me all the way through. Now we're talking about getting ready to meet. She invites me to come to the office. And I'm like, oh, I just really want to meet at the property. Awesome. Did you, who's going to be with you? Now, I mentioned earlier Janina was going to be with me. Now suddenly Janina's not going to be with me. Yeah, actually, she's not going to make it. Right there, when the hair on the back of your neck stands up, that's the sixth sense. That is the universe telling you something is awry. At that point, while you're telling them all the things that you need, what they definitely need to do at that point, and you should do this universally, and just say it's market center practice, team practice. Whatever you want to say, as long as your rainmaker is okay with it, and they will be, I trust. Since you're not able to come to the office, if you could do me a favor, and I told you I'm pre-approved, if you could send through your pre-approval, because if I had a conversation with a lender, I mean, you could be a psycho and still be financed, but they're probably just trying to get to the house, right? Could you scan through your license and your wife's license? Because I said Janina was coming, right? Well, yeah, but she's not going to the house. Yeah, but you would mention she's going to be part of the transaction. Like, as soon as they start to get all baffled by that, because if I want to go see the house and Janina can't leave the office, I'm gonna text my wife and say, hey, can you take a quick picture of your license and shoot it through to me so I can scan it through this realtor so she knows the real deal? If you're getting pushback about asking for us to go through a few hurdles to prove that we're on the up and up and that we are concerned about your safety, like, as soon as you started asking me those questions, I'd know the road we're going down. And I'd be like, I completely understand. Because weird stuff happens all the time. My wife and I truly want to buy a house. I don't want to just get you out of a remote location and be on Dateline. And I don't say that to joke. I'm just saying, for God's sakes, guys, leverage the market center. Say it is market center policy. If you can't come to the office, you have to scan through a copy of your license and your pre-approval. And your rainmakers, your team leads might feel differently about this. And if they do, I'm not trying to tell you guys how to run your business. I'm here to offer best practices. I want our people to be safe. One last thing. There is with most boards, and Sue Doyle has talked about this, and I know a few of our veteran agents have these. You'll hear about the red card. There is a card the size of a business card that if I arrived, and I'll use Doyle as an example. If I arrived at Doyle's listing, and even if my person knows or doesn't know, and they probably wouldn't know anyway, if I'm maybe on the second house we're looking at, and at the first house this guy gave me the creeps, this person gave me the creeps, I'm going to then hand I'm going to use my coaster. Isn't that a great coaster? I'm then going to hand my business card with this card from the board that doesn't say anything. It's just, it does say there's something that's not written on it, and we'll discuss this more. You can get them at the board level. It doesn't say anything that would alert the person, but an agent will see that you handed them two cards and realize the second card is that red card. It's an alert card. It says it's a nonverbal sign that I am not comfortable with the person I'm with. And at that point, you guys can take steps to separate from the individual. And I don't mean like Taekwondo. I mean like, making sure that you stick around, you end the engagement. And again, with all of this, if you are in imminent danger, you're calling the authorities. You're hitting the 9 and the 1 and the 1. If you're in imminent danger. If it's a discomfort level, we're recommending that red card. And then within our market center, we call it the orange file. And if you're ever anywhere, let's assume that you're at that open house by yourself. Let's assume in any environment where you're with somebody and there's nobody else around, maybe there is another agent around. Somebody comes into your open house, they're making you feel uncomfortable, they're lingering too much. Even if there's two of you and you feel weird about it, you can either go on our Facebook page, you can call the front desk, you can call any one of us. And ultimately the question is, hey, you know what? I was going through my paperwork and I don't seem to have the orange file. Can somebody bring the orange file for 48 Oak Street over here, please? We now know the address. Obviously, you give 48 Oak Street, Farmington, or wherever you are. Orange file means, can somebody please come out? Again, all of these things are safety measures for somebody else to be involved, to greaten our numbers so there's more people there so you're not alone. If you feel that you're in imminent danger, the red card and the orange file are we've skated right past those. If you are ever in imminent danger, obviously you're calling 911. But all these other things are put in place, and we can lessen the likelihood of any of these things happening when there's two or more gathered. Always have somebody with you. Door knocking, open houses, showings. Well, I was in a rush and blah, blah, blah. Like, there's nothing that's worth your safety and your well-being. That next closing is not worth your safety and well-being. So please, please, please bring somebody with you, a friend or a spouse. Obviously, they can't speak to the real estate, and I know you know that. And if you didn't, you know it now. A fellow agent, an allied resource, a lender, a team member if you're on a team. Let's be safe. Let's practice our real estate business correctly, safely, intelligently, and have an awareness of what's going on around us. I don't like waking up and feeling like we have to protect ourselves from the humans. But not everybody out there is functioning with the heart that you have. And there's people that woke up today and they're just looking to do something wrong. And you guys have too many people to help to not take care of yourselves in the moment. So if you got questions about the stuff we talked about today, and you want to talk about it a little bit more, if there's something that's happened that's freaked you out and you want to talk about it, we're here to talk to you guys about this stuff. Keep each other safe. Make sure you're going out in numbers. Make sure you are forcing the client to show that they're real with a pre-approval letter, scanning their license through. You know, meeting them here at the office, meeting them at brick and mortar or in a public place first is always the smartest move. And somebody could seem normal one day and a little weird the next day. And as soon as that happens, that's when you call for the orange file. That's when you hand a fellow agent the red card. So people, we can all keep each other safe. You're looking for help for anything. You're looking for me. It's meetwithcoach.com. You want to talk. You want to run through a script. You need a little help clearing your head so you can get on with your day. 603-834-2856. Marketing, it is timewithbabs.com, B-A-B-S, timewithbabs.com. Her full suite of services at KWCLMmarketing.com. And above and beyond that, your brokers are available with Back to Basics today at 1 o'clock on Keller TV. And you can always call Jason Westcott at 603-234-2589. Aside from all that, we really appreciate being in business with you guys. Stay safe out there. Questions, comments, concerns, please reach out to me, 603-834-2856. Have a great day. We'll see you in and around the Market Center. Enjoy the weekend. Stay cool.